Okay, folks, here we are again. So the tiger's at the point where we're going to do the re-dry brush of the core color. But I have a dilemma. The dilemma I have is the camouflage, although I want it subtle, I don't really want it to be any more subtle than this already. And I'm going to dry brush over it. And it's going to cause an issue. So this is experience talking. I've experienced this before and I didn't like it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to overbrush the camouflage color on it now. And then we're going to have to dry brush over it anyways in the base color. And that'll make it look more like it's airbrushed anyways. So now I don't like painting ammo MIG paint, which is what this is. And I really don't like this color. I don't like this olive green option 2, which is the one that they throw at you. Oh, this is the color that you need to use for the... And obviously the color of it varies a little bit depending on what you mix it in. But this is the base color that ammo MIG says you should use your green. And if you look at it here in the bottle, it didn't look too bad. If you look at it on here, it looks a lot like field gray. Looks a lot like field gray. And this tank coming up does have this color. And I actually want it to look like this, but it looks like freaking field gray. So, and this was also a nightmare to paint with this the other day. So I'm going to take a step back and use, first of all, I want to see if I have another bottle of this it's called reflective green, but it's really refractive green. 890 Vallejo, which is, if you look at, and Vallejo they used to be an offender. Now they're being criminal about how many different paint sets they have for different things. But their original German tank paint set recommended this color as the green in it. And it doesn't look quite the way it looks in them. You can't look through the plastic and get an accurate thing, but I do want to see if I have another one, because this is pretty watery. And even though I'm going to water it down myself, I'm going to thin it down. I like to thin it down by my own hand, not by however the hell they decide to do it in there. Because one of the things that happens, German dark green, I may not have another one of these. This is one of these colors that I bought when I bulk bought these using the monies from my first sales on eBay. I'm like, what am I going to do with this money for this stuff that I'm never going to use anymore? No, I don't believe I have one. I should get another one. Because this thing's kind of separated. And it's a pain every time I come and bring it out. So, just to kind of see the differences, we're going to put a little drop of this olive green option 2, which I don't know how the hell this thing can be tacky and thin at the same time, but it is. I hate dry brushing, painting this stuff. Yeah, it's pretty close to this. But this one's a little bit more vivid. So if I repaint these stripes with this color, all I'm going to get is it's going to get tacky and fall apart on me. And I think this is going to be the way to go. And I'm going to have to pull this out, aren't I? This is an old... Anyway, so this has been sitting on a shelf a while, I think, before I ever got it. So it's almost like I got a bad batch of this stuff. And no mixing balls is going to fix this thing, because the tip is what's really pretty corrupted. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's get some of this. And the ammo make doesn't like to mix with water as well as the Vallejo does. I think I need to do bigger than that. Let's see what we have here. And this is where I can say that you don't really need an airbrush to make airbrush looking effects. Yeah, that's what we need to do. And we may have to enhance it a little bit more after we're done with the overall dry brush. Well, at least you got the shape kind of how we wanted it to. I may not use this olive green 2 anymore. It's just not right. The whole reason that I ended up getting an airbrush was for the priming and for the sealing stages. I just use it for this other stuff because why not? I got an airbrush, right? It's an opportunity to work on my skills. I'm actually kind of surprised at some of the comments that I gotten on the Ferdinand recently about people were impressed with the airbrush job I did. Well, I'm glad you were, because I'm not. I don't think the airbrushing was very good. It wasn't terrible, but that's not my strong point. It's never going to be my strong point. I always feel like what is it within here? I always feel like there's something fucking dusty here. Oh. Anyways, it's not my strong point. I always feel like I'm having a fight with a machine. I envision one thing it to look like, and it doesn't meet that expectation. It'd be like somebody says, "Man, you're a really good photographer. Like, you're full of shit." That's probably the thing I'm the worst at. Although nobody's accused me of that yet, but I am not a... There's a perfect example of visualization gone wrong. Photography. You have an idea what it looks like. You see it. You take a photo of it. That's not it. Take a photo of it again, change the lighting. That's not it either. Like, it's super, super, super frustrating. It's super frustrating. So, yeah, I needed to do that. Good morning, Marcus. No, I'm not getting sick. I think it's just a side effect of that damn... What's that thing called? That thing that they talked me into getting it, and I didn't have it. Maybe it's old instructions, but I don't see any here. But they must be around. That's the weirdest thing, man. Old instructions, old boxes of kits. I had to throw them all away. They're over there in the garbage can, but I was here yesterday with them over there, and they were just fine. The shingle shot. The shingle shot, man, that really... Luckily, I didn't have a headache. I'd be really miserable, but... Anyhow, Marcus, I got some cool stuff for you. You're about the same age as I am, so I'm going to do a little bit of a quiz on you. Remember in school when you were a kid? And I remember hearing from another kid, from who knows what kid this is, but I'm going to go down a size on this. It's getting a little bit too... There's always this hearsay of this, and I know you've heard this, of this, oh yeah, they used to have this plane that was so fast it shot itself down. They had to stop putting a gun in it because it would outrun its own bullets and shoot itself down. Remember that? Probably heard it in 6th grade, 7th grade, something like that for the first time. Plane going so fast it outran its own bullets and shot itself down. Yeah, the back end of the bullet, I guess, because it'd be coming up from behind. This was going really fast, and then it slowed down, and the front of the bullets hit it. Remember that nonsense? Oh, did I just fuck up and added this thing to it? All right. Fuck you, Olive Groom option 2. You're gone. See ya. Yes, faster than the speed of sound. Well, it's got to be faster than the speed of sound too, because you could have not a science guy. Disclaimer here. You could have bullets that travel faster than the speed of sound, and anyhow, so that was attributable always to the SR-71. SR-71, they had to take the gun out of it because of the gun. They fired it one time, brought itself down, right? So throughout the years, I've looked up this fact on the SR-71. Blackbird, reconnaissance aircraft, super fast plane, right? Never have I been able to find that as the culprit. However, I did find a plane where that happened with. So that just tells you how the story had gotten corrupted. That plane is a plane known as an F-11 Tiger. An F-11 Tiger is a vaguely familiar looking plane. What we're doing with this is, this is kind of slightly watery, and we're kind of stippling it-ish as we go, so that it doesn't look like a completely solid line. F-11 kind of looks like like an A4 in a way, but slender. They only used them for like 4 years. The Navy ended up retiring them, but it was a plane that broke the sound barrier, but only by so much, only by a little bit. And yeah, look it up. It's SR-71. That's why they took the gun out of it and everything. And it's like bullshit story. Locked up another bullshit story. F-11 Tiger. Which honestly I thought was a pretty modern looking plane considering the time that it was in service. Because it was in service during like Eisenhower presidency. I don't really know anything about Eisenhower. He comes up a lot in these books that I'm reading. About his personality and stuff. And it's funny because it was quoted in there that he said he would never run for president. He was asking if he had political aspirations, and he said he never ran. He was never going to run for president. Never trust a future politician. But his strong suit was, coordinating between the different allies and stuff like that, which I can tell you right now, I would definitely not be good at that. I definitely would not be good at that. Okay. One more effing day to make it to a long weekend. Of course, I'm not sure if I'm going to be on here tomorrow morning. I definitely won't be on here Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Okay, I think this is what we needed to do. We needed to do this. And again, this is experience. I was just figuring out, if I keep going down this road, I'm not going to get what I think I'm going to get. I'm going to end up getting like the Panthers at Kursk. And the Panthers at Kursk that I got, the camouflage, it looks great, but it's not what I wanted. You know, it's a little too subtle. A little too subtle. It's okay, but it's a little too subtle. Because we're going to go over this with a dry brush, even though it's a very thin dry brush, a very light dry brush, not thin. But that's better. So maybe this did work as a guide of where to go. Maybe I'll use it for that, knowing that I'm going to come in with another color. Let that dry for a little bit. I'll be sleeping in tomorrow morning. Oh boy. I've got to do some Spanish translation. Okay, the Sanchez, president of Mexico, is causing un calentamiento, a heating in the technology, in the Spanish technologies of communication. I hate that word. I hate the word Hispanic. I really do. Especially if it's like I don't consider, if you're going to use Hispanic in the way that it gets used in the United States, the Spanish are not Hispanic. I don't consider myself Hispanic. It just has an ugly connotation to me. So people say, "Are you Hispanic?" I'm like, "Nope." It doesn't apply to me. Anyways, I digress. The Spanish technology, Spanish of communication. Solar flares is Sanchez have the entire world at 43 degrees centigrade. I don't know what you're getting at. That guy's definitely left of center, so I wouldn't vote for him. That's too much government control. The Kursk camouflage is similar to the camouflage in Libya. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to use this green, yeah. I like my Africa core without camouflage, though. All right, we dry yet? Are we dry yet? Are we there yet? We didn't do the stuff on the wheels. I think we'll be okay. A lot of this camouflage doesn't go on the wheels. They just realize, well, it's stupid to have the camouflage go across, and that wheel ends up like not being faced the same way. Okay, now I may buy one bottle of the Atom one because I detest dry brushing this because it's way too moist. And you have to get so much of it out. And when you get it out, the paint is way too... I like airbrushing these paints, but I like them less now than I did 3 months ago because that Abbasid formula, that's what I'm going to call it now. The Abbasid formula is incredible. And you don't need to use paint that's already ready to airbrush. You can use any paint. And... so I might as well use paint that works well hand painting it as well. So yeah. Well, all politicians are corrupt. I'm pretty convinced. I think that we need to handle, and I mean all of us. we should handle politicians completely different. And I don't want to get political, but I think this makes common sense. Like, okay, we pay you this amount of money to do a job. You're not allowed to have any income other than this. So if, let's say we're paying you $250,000 a year, and it's not enough, right? Because I wouldn't do that job for any amount of money. But there's some people that are like, well, that's not enough money. Fine. We'll pay you $2 million a year. You go from 200,000 to $2 million. But if we find out you take even a red cent from anybody else, we're hanging you on the spot. Not court trials, none of that bullshit. We're gallows right there, pitch you off a cliff, you're a dead man. We get rid of you. I think that's the solution. No lobbyist crap, none of that. You're not allowed to work in, you have to retire after you work in government. You're not allowed to work in some industry that gets, lobbyists and shit like that. There shouldn't be any lobbyists, Death to corruption. I don't care. Oh, it's okay for him to be corrupt. He's my guy. No, corruption is bad. Evil, it's dishonest. So yeah, that's why, I don't like government. I don't like corporations. I don't like people being dishonest. I don't like people saying, what's your favorite color? Green. And then it isn't. It's red. It's like, be an honest person. Why is that so hard to do? No wonder everybody's on drugs. They got to be on drugs to be able to sleep at night for all the lies that they tell. Just be honest. Is it so damn difficult? What kind of a shitty mother did you have that didn't teach that into you when you were a kid? Yeah, not convincing me on the global warming thing. You're not convincing me this whole, rules for thee, not for me bullshit. As soon as I find out about that, I'm like totally against you. Like, oh, you got to wear your mask, but I don't have to. And, oh, you make sure you take public transport and you got to ride next to people that are, that are bums, and your family's got to be next to homeless people, but I'm taking a jet everywhere and screw the ozone layer. It's like, as soon as I find out about shit like that, I'm like, all right, where do you sign up for the revolution? Because I'm going to take the other side. Al Gore needs a barbed wire enema. That's why they're all drunks. Yeah, I don't have anything against alcohol, but man, if you're drinking every day, there's a problem. I don't even remember the last time I drank. It's that I never do. I never do. Not to, escape reality. I don't think I've ever had a drink to escape reality. Sometimes you have a few too many, having a good time, but not like, I gotta get trashed so I forget what kind of a... And don't get me wrong, I hate my job. but drinking isn't going to solve it. And I don't hate my job because I'm being dishonest at it. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I couldn't do that shit. There's no way. Or an attorney defending people that you know are guilty. I couldn't do it. Okay, just a little dry brush like that, and bam, we got it looking just like it's airbrushed again. And some of it is, and some of it is just, enhanced. Enhanced airbrushing. Yeah, I get a kick when somebody says, man, your airbrushing looks really good. I said, okay, if you say so. I've just learned how to fix my shitty airbrushing with other skills that are actually worth a damn. Last time I had alcohol or soda was 5 years ago. I'm not giving up soda. Sorry. I'll give up sugary soda. I gotta have something. Be like, you should give up caffeine. Fuck you. Absolutely not. Okay, but you're gonna take care of me because I'm not going to work. I'm not going to work without caffeine. Now, everything we'll do will require zero sense of urgency. You know, maybe I could get away with not having caffeine and going to work if I worked for somewhere like, the government, where it's like, I couldn't work at the government. I'd go crazy. I'd have to do drugs to make sure, I didn't care if I did a good job or not. That'd drive me crazy. Okay. This is what I'm good at, not the airbrushing part. And it's funny because I don't feel like I have that much experience dry brushing. But then again, I have dry brushed over 200 vehicles, so I haven't been dry brushing that many years. Because I didn't do any dry brushing with the medievals and stuff that I did. Now, there's one part I'm actually really dreading on this. And it's unusual for me to say what it is. And it's the numbers. Because I'm afraid that they're going to look too subtle. But this thing looks fucking great. This thing looks great right now. This looks better than the Ferdinand. I mean, everybody loves the Ferdinand, but I think this looks better. Now, the Ferdinand was a lot more enjoyable because of the fact that I made all those custom pieces to it. None of it is major, but it made him, not available in stores kind of thing, Now, none of this I've done so far, I would say, is really weathering. This is just making this painted tiger they got pulled out and parked in the middle of this field look like it, was just the sun beating down on it and baking it. And not weathering, it's baking. Baked tiger. A baked tiger roll. Let me add a little bit more of this. There's other colors that get dry brushed on top, but let me add a little bit of this, and then we're going to go to everybody's favorite part, the road wheels. Which isn't that big of a deal to do. But I think I need to do hollow white numbers on this to be for the correct unit, but I'm not sure. It's like a catch-22. If you do numbers that don't stand out enough, it sucks because they don't stand out enough. If they're too bright, they suck because they're too bright. It's almost like you got to see what they look like. Sometimes, like, just solid black numbers look the best because you can see them, but they're not overpowering. They're not like, oh, well, why are they bright freaking red? Now it's not going to look like it's in a forest kind of thing, And I did find this hatch. It was somewhere it shouldn't have been. On the floor. That's a good place to get sucked up. Alright, well, we're still going to end up doing a little highlight afterwards. Let's get to the road wheels. All right. Let's get out the crime scene that is opening this up. It's the closure device on it. Let's see. I don't want one that's too small, and I also don't want one that's massivo. Let's just scoop a little bit of this pudding. Black pudding. Not the kind they have in the UK. Which people claim to really love. I just think that, I think that hundreds of years of inbreeding has really damaged people in the UK's taste buds. And that doesn't mean I like all American food. You don't see me chewing on them. What's that? What are those things called? Elephant ears or damn carnival food? Corn dog. You don't see me eating a corn dog. Okay. Let's start here. And this is one of these things I could probably get away with not painting it. But deep down inside, I know I didn't paint it. And if you look close enough, you can tell the difference. Now, fortunately, the Ferdinand, I'm going to remove the turret. There's no reason to mess around with that. The Ferdinand did not have rubber. And if you think this is unpleasant, it's a lot more pleasant than painting 32 Roman sandals in a row. What am I going to work on next after the tiger and the elephant? Well, you know me. I like to mix it up. I should finish the panther. But I may need to fix that before I can finish it. But trust the process. That's something I've learned the last couple of years. Trust the process. Just don't be discouraged that you think it doesn't look good right now. Go all the way through. And then if you decide it doesn't look good, okay, well then it doesn't look good. Then you need to do something different. But don't jump off the ship too early. And I probably won't be using that again. Not at least for its intended purposes, that AK camouflage putty. It's just too hard for me to visualize what I need to do. I need to squint my brain a bit too much to figure out how something's going to turn out. Whereas if I would have just hand painted the pattern, it would have turned out a little bit differently. It's not the colors, it's the pattern style. So I may end up not being happy with it, and it's just a little bit of fixing that I need to do to get it where I want it to be. It's the whole Zimrit thing. Zimrit, I fucking hate Zimrit. I hate Zimrit. I generally don't dislike how it looks if it's already on the model. I don't want to get into Zimriting a model. That's going to take forever. Probably won't look right. And take an inordinate amount of time. It looks terrible on Panzer IVs. Zimrit looks terrible on Panzer IVs. Even on real pictures, it looks sloppy as shit. A lot of the Panzer IVs in Normandy for instance, had Zimrit on them. And it just looks sloppy as crap. Then it has hand-painted numbers and the hand-painted numbers are all jagged looking. It just looks sloppy as hell. Most models, don't come with them on. Don't come with Zimmerit on. So then you're like, okay, so we just ignore this is the one that they decided to make without Zimmerit on it during this time period. Or, it creates a dilemma. And it was all for naught. The only reason that Zimmerit would ever work is if somebody captured the German anti-magnetic mines and used them on their own vehicles. Because nobody else had anti-magnetic mines. Another failure of German intelligence. Everybody thinks, oh, the Germans just was really in engineering and they were really ahead of their time. Well, they were in some things, and they were just like handicapped in other departments, and intelligence was one of them. You have intelligence leaks, they'd find out that people knew what was happening almost at the same time the Germans themselves knew that it was happening. The spies would find out about German stuff, and the Germans wouldn't find out about the other guys. Just, Nazis don't make very good spies. Good thing. 60 degrees in northern Michigan feels like 58 degrees. 2-degree difference, man, that's nothing. I'm used to feels like differences of 15 degrees. It'd been 88 degrees feels like 104. We get that stuff here all the time. And it's really the feels like that's important. I don't care what the real temperature is. I care what it feels like. But I don't know what I'm going to work on next. I don't want to commit because I'd probably just leave you astray. I'd probably say, hey, I'm going to do this, and then when it's time to do that, I'd change my mind and do something else. I'll be working on something though. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to paint anymore. That's definitely not in the cards. This is one of the few things I look forward to every day. Paint the edge. Yeah, the edge is a lot easier to paint than the rim, so don't paint the rims first. Because in the process of painting the difficult stuff, the easy stuff might inadvertently get painted on its own. Like it just happens because of overpaint. This actually didn't take very long at all. You got to use the right paint. You got to thin it the right amount. That was actually pretty quick. But what I'm really not motivated to do is put a game together. I'm really not motivated. You're asking too much of me. You're asking too much of somebody that is overtaxed at the job. And I don't want to bad enough. So, good morning, Mr. Barnes. Do you like black pudding? British food has some names. You want some spotted dick? No, thanks. I've already got one, and it's not spotted. You just need somebody to come by, you know, somebody come by and say, I don't mind putting a dick in my mouth, but it better not be spotted. Okay. Yeah, diseased. Oh, man. Can't find a decent black pudding in recent years. Most is disgusting. Games too take a lot of prep and research. I always try to give my games some historical grounding. Yeah, I mean, I got a place I can do it. Um, it takes up a lot of space, and I think the last couple ones, even though they weren't perfect, I think they went pretty well. I like the fact that I'm um, I'm motivated to come up with an answer, even if I can't find one, because I'm playing rules that are grounded in reality, not some abstract bullshit. Just say no to abstract bullshit. Well, I've only had black pudding once, and I'll never have it again. Let's just disregard what disgusting thing it's made out of, because there's a lot of things that we all eat that are probably, if you knew how they were made, you wouldn't eat them. I just can't stand it. I don't like anything that tastes, wait for it, ferrous. I don't like anything that tastes ferrous, like iron. Nothing. So if it's liver, I'm not disgusted by liver. It just tastes horror, like something you shouldn't be eating. You know, it's like you're licking an anvil. Why am I eating this? So anything that's ferrous like, I'm not eating it. What did we come across that tasted ferrous the other day? There shouldn't have been. Something. Something was weird. It was like, this just shouldn't be. Some people don't like salty and sweet together. I'm not one of those people. I don't like traditional pad thai, not because I dislike peanut butter or peanuts. I just don't like them with my meat. And most of the pad thai sauce I've had is made with peanut butter, and that just doesn't go. But again, it's a very limited thing. Like, okay, I don't like this. You know, Small combination of things. I get that you can get that taste away by soaking in milk. You're more motivated for setting up games for solo play. Yeah, I'm totally okay with running games for solo play. I think it worked okay. Some of you guys even watched. Wow, but you know, I'm there for the narrative. I don't. I'm not necessarily interested in playing against another human, so somehow I can fool them into thinking I'm going to do something different than they thought I was going to. I'm just That's part's not important to me anymore. So hell, if I had another player, we'd both play both sides together. Okay, and just like that, we're done. Now, the part I hate. You don't like sugar. You like liver and... Well, I like caramelized onions on just about everything, except ice cream. You eat quite a bit of liver here. I know, you guys trade us the... We eat the real part of the meat, and you guys can keep the liver part. I just, I'd just assume not eat meat. I mean, I could, I can fuck up some bread and vegetables, man, like nobody's business. All right, let me get on my Pahoni. Why am I getting a word daily? I didn't ask for that. I've never played those games. And I can't even delete it because I can't visualize, I can't see it on my screen. View more, it doesn't show me more. I'm reporting you as spam. Fuck you. Scenic Express, I can't check on you. I'm reporting you as spam. I'm tired of this. I go in to look at my stuff and people running interference for me. Leave me alone. Cold calls. Man, I get so many cold calls at work. And I don't answer anything at work if I don't recognize what the phone number is. I'm like, oh, this is a cold call. Because they won't take any no for an answer. It's like, hey, I don't bug people when they're doing stuff at work. Leave me alone. Gallery. This should be... Okay, here's a screenshot of one of the... $505 Abteilung. And all of these, according to this decal sheet, all have white hollow numbers on their tigers. Now, these bottom two, they have like these two stacks of wood. I've never seen that before on a tiger. I don't know if it's meant to be like extra armor or something like that, just in case. It looks out of place. No. And they want to squish the numbers here in between that front and that thing. And that is just too squishy. I'm not putting the numbers there. And I don't think I have white numbers that are that small. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what I have and I'm going to put them in the traditional location. But I'm going to go ahead and clear coat this. Because this needs to dry a little bit. I don't mind smelling this stuff either. This stuff smells pretty good for something you shouldn't be smelling. Barnes, lions love liver, so that tells you something. Lions always go for the liver first from a kill. Ugh. I just don't, I'm not grossed out by it. Honestly, all of it can be gross if you think about it too much, but I don't like the taste of it. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, I may be able to put a small one here. I've seen one here. I don't remember what side it is, so gloss coat them both. One of the most common normal things that that a lot of people don't like, and I don't know why, is tomatoes. I am floored by how many I can't eat tomatoes. Why not? Oh, they disgust me. What's disgusting about tomatoes? I mean, sure, one that's rotten, yeah, you can't keep it in your mouth. But a good tomato, tomatoes are awesome. I don't know how you could eat them. I'm like, because it's a tomato, it's nothing weird, you know. Really common to be anti-tomato. All right, I'm sorry, tomato. All right, so we need that there, back of the turret. I think that's the only spots that we're going to find it. You know, the Germans were Nazis, but they weren't like the Americans that put the stupid nomenclature of your inspection tank number bullshit on the back corner. I hate that. That's the worst thing about the American vehicles. Not, oh, you mean that they're painted all green? No, I'm fine with that. That stupid ass serial number on the back. And the British did that shit too. Their T, I don't give a shit what your T number is. Go away. Go have some tea. The British one's better. It's not as long. So when I hand painted it, it's not as tortuous. It's not as arduous. I just gave up on some of it. Just like, fuck it, I'm not putting it on it. All right, let's go look at our clear numbers. Well, let's start off by flipping this over. Good Lord, that's difficult to look at. That's a two-bagger right there. Oh man, it's time to go to the fucking mines. I don't mince any words, do I? I don't like something. You guys are the first to know. Don't be falling down, you son of a bitch. That's. Did you ever bake a tomato and cheese in it? Tomatoes are good. Tomatoes are wonderful. I didn't know they came from the New World. Oh. Oh, oh wait. What kind of decals did this tiger come with? I mean, I don't give a shit about the numbers. We already dropped them in here. Yeah, it probably didn't come with a little, you know, that little prancing dragon that they used in North Africa. I mean, the prancing dragon. The prancing, here it is. This is the ones they came with. I'm not using those. I might use that small Balkan quartz for the back corner. Yeah, solid white numbers. Yeah, I'm going to try the hollow ones. I don't like them already doing. What's this one? The Kubelwagen? No, okay, this is the numbers that we're looking at. Okay. Friends don't let friends use petting house decals. God, they're god awful. They're thick. They're thick and they're all one sheet. They're great other than that. You mean so they're great other than the fact that they suck? Exactly. What's this? This is the Attack. Check 38. Well, that's not too bad. I don't know how the Attack ones go. No. I didn't know the Hasegawas were all one sheet. I expected better from them. Here's some Balkan Kreutzes. This is the one from the Panther. These are the ones that came with Elephant. which probably won't work. These things are ancient. If I use them on the elephant, if I didn't use them on the elephant, I'm not going to use them here. And the other thing, by making these for the 505th, I don't have to do those stupid Kursk only decals. I don't mind how the little SS decals look. They're just evil fuckers, so there's no reason to do that. They're guaranteed to be evil fuckers. Man, these numbers are really, really big. We can't use those. These are the ones that are 1/72nd. I'm using most of the 1/87th ones. Those are really small for early war. It seems like a lot of the numbers that are black numbers with a white outline, it seems to me, this is not scientific, tend to be for SS units. And that makes sense, but that's what I've noticed, is SS units tend to have that combination, which again makes sense. And I hopefully one day when I get to be really good at is I really would like to print my own, be really good at printing my own decals. But considering I have the paper and haven't done any of that at all, I'm going to take my computer with me on I'm going to spend a couple of nights out of town, and I'm taking my computer with me. And I really wish these decals would work. But they don't. I've used the Africa Corps ones. I have been able to make work. You know, the only thing I don't like about these decals, the only thing is it's the same style of number. It's a style of number. All right, we're going to need. I'm not going to have time to put these on. I'll be late and I'll be rushed, and you know, double whammy. I'm better off putting them on at lunchtime, coming back at lunch, putting them. I got more time to do it there than now. Yeah, we don't have an agenda when we have to get this done by, so I don't actually like that 4. It's an open 4. This one says it's second company, white 21. So this would technically be 221. I don't know why the hell they only put a 2 on it. I'll go with that number. Cut the 1 and a 2 out of here. This is for the rear. Okay, I need 3 more 2s. 1 for each for the side and 1 for the back. Man, I barely have enough. Okay, here's another one. 2. It's a problem with repeat numbers. There's a 2. Here's another 2. One more. This is tank 221. And the 2 Balkan kreuzes. Yeah, I don't have time to do that. I don't want to have time to do that. That's being way too rushed. Yeah, this looks a lot better now that I went and enhanced the camouflage, so it stands out a little bit more. All right, folks. News matojos por na. Red cubre motor. You're talking about one of them Nazi flags? I've got some, but I can't show them online. I made some digitally and printed them out, but they'll just be removable. Yeah, adds a little bit of color. Yep, can't show them. I don't want to get in trouble with the. Don't want to get in trouble with the bots. I don't care about the people. You can look at my content and realize we're not promoting any kind of dictatorships, communist or otherwise. All right, folks. We'll see you guys on the next one.